Welcome back to the Fenway Focus. I'm Jason, and I'm here with Derek. It has been a while, and we have a lot to discuss and a lot to break down. From the Red Sox 10-game win streak since the 4th of July to this past Cubs series where they lost 2 of 3, but in my opinion, it was a feel-good 1 out of 3. I think we'll get into that more in a few seconds, I guess. So, Derek, how you been? It's been a while. Great to talk with you.
It has been a while. We did joke before the Cubs series that if they swept the Cubs, we'd hold off and just wait until they lose to record. I don't think we were necessarily expecting them to sweep the Cubs. We know the Cubs are really good. But it was like, if they pull it off, we might have to push it back and wait till they lose. But it was bound to end eventually. But overall, since we last recorded, it's been, it's been an amazing run for the Red Sox, and it's been an even better run than I feel like looking back at it, it feels even better than it was almost during it because you can bring up yes, they play the Nationals, Rockies, Rays, etc., but you still need to win those games, especially against National Rockies. You still have to win those games. And it's an interesting thing that's coincided with how the division is kind of unfolding, because I feel like when you look at the Red Sox and they go on that big old stretch, it coincided with the Rays kind of struggling, right? The Rays are now 3-7 in their last 10, and the Red Sox have now leapfrogged them. Red Sox are only 2 games back of the Yankees, right? This is a Red Sox team that, when you look at the division, is Toronto going to stay as good as they are? They're definitely, you definitely make the argument that they're overplaying, right? They're playing above their weight. They're sub 500 on the road. They're
I was just about to mention that.
Right? But they're sub 500 on the road. I say the Red Sox are sub 500. The Red Sox are sub 500 on the road too, but Toronto is beating the living crap out of everyone, and their run differential is 4th in the division, right? You wonder, is Toronto going to fade at some point? The Yankees obviously have a ton of talent, but they've had their struggles. You look at the Red Sox. Red Sox have had their struggles this year, but you look at the Red Sox and you go all around that roster, the Red Sox might have, if they add the right pieces at the deadline, they might have the most complete team, which is crazy to say, right? If you're looking at it, before the 10-game win streak when the Red Sox were under 500, you look at that and go, I don't know if the Red Sox have the most complete roster, but you start kind of doing with Bregman coming back, Yoshida even, obviously Houck's going back on the injured list, right? But the Red Sox maybe add a good starting pitcher, maybe get even another reliever, and maybe a first baseman, right? It seems like Toro's starting to kind of fade off, which was expected. Let's be honest. You kind of start looking at the big picture, and you go, the Red Sox could be the most complete team in the AL East after the trade deadline, which is, like I said, kind of crazy to think, considering before the 10-game win streak, the Red Sox were not, we're not at this. You were looking at that roster.
They were 2 games below 500.
Yeah, they're 2 games below 500. You're looking at, it's still the Devers trade and, this and that. And it's but now you look at it and you go, yeah, they're healthy. Bregman's back. Yoshida's back. Although we don't know how much he's really going to play, but maybe he'll play first base, right? Maybe, considering how everything's going. But no, I'm joking, obviously. But they've put themselves in a really nice spot, and it's nice to see. I know I saw the tweet about how through 100 games, 53 and 47, just like the last 2 years. But this team feels different. The 53 and 47, but it feels like they're trending up, and it feels like they're only going to get better. Whereas last year, they were 53 and 47, but they stumbled into the trade deadline. Right. Obviously, this upcoming stretch, Phillies, Dodgers, Twins, not easy. But I think it's going to be very telling. And also, if the Twins are or the Red Sox are going to Minnesota, someone tell Craig to get on the plane and, get talking to people in Minnesota. I'm just saying.
Right. And I think what you're saying stems from what happened today. Red Sox won 6-1 in amazing fashion. They scored their runs in the 7th and 8th innings. Yeah, Willie Abreu, 2 homers. Alex Bregman coming to pinch hit for Masataka Yoshida. Great decision. Which is crazy because I remember in the 6th inning, the Cubs are just running what's his name? Theobar? I think that's his name.
Bar. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Say it again?
I think it's Steel Bar.
Yeah, Theobar. He was a lefty, and everyone, including myself, wanted Wrestler to pinch hit. It was in the 6th inning. He struck out on 3 pitches. So, whatever. But then Bregman pinch hits and hits a homer. But that was a feel-good. That was like okay, this team has fight win. And like I said in the intro, this team, it was a feel-good. I don't like saying series loss, but it was a. I feel like it's wrong to say, okay, it's wrong to be upset.
Just take out the first inning of the first 2 games, and in that series feel.
No, not even that. Not even that. Like the Cubs in every way are better than you are.
Yeah.
I think. The broadcast said the Red Sox, the Cubs are the best opponent the Red Sox have played. I think I'd reword that slightly to say the Cubs are the most complete team the Red Sox have played, right? Good all around, really no gaps anywhere. And the Red Sox stole a game from them. Could have had 2 of those games. Yeah, like you said, get rid of the first inning. And the first inning struggles in the first 2 games, it's a whole new ballgame. But I think the first innings have plagued the Red Sox all season. Doesn't help when Buehler's going tomorrow for the Red Sox. So, but just going through the Cubs roster in terms of the bullpen, they have a lot of guys you wouldn't expect. Brad Keller is their setup man for Fangraphs,
which is wild, might I add, considering
Presley's not even the closer. Ryan Brazier, Drew Pomerantz, Ethan Roberts, Brooks Kriske, Chris Flexen.
Yeah, Daniel Palencia got the save in the first game of the series. That's a that's a wild one right there. Daniel Palencia, who had a 6.14 ERA last year in 14 2/3 innings, has a 1.53 ERA in 35 1/3 this year for the Cubs. Right? It's a wacky team of veterans giving great contributions, and I mean, fucking Reese McGuire has been a very serviceable backup catcher for them.
Better than Connor Wong.
Reese Jackoff McGuire.
He has Brad Keller has a 3.07 ERA and a FIP of 3.27.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's absurd. Obviously, PCA's breakout helps the Cubs team a lot. I mean, Dansby Swanson was a big free agent signing for them, and he's hitting 7th. He's hitting 7th or 6th, right, every game. It's either 7th or 6th. Ian Happ, who is, at times a 3 or 4 hitter for them in the past, is hitting, 5th, 6th, or 7th, depending on the day. Right? That's crazy, right? They are, the Cubs are a very good team. Obviously, Justin Turner there too, just loading up on the former Red Sox. Reese McGuire, Justin Turner, Brad Keller. If you want to count Ryan Presley because he was drafted in the Red Sox minor league system, I guess you could. Ryan Brazier, Drew Pomerantz, right?
Brooks Kriske.
Yep.
Brooks Kriske is finally relevant in some sort again.
Yep.
I have a group chat with my other friends named the Brooks Kriske fan club named after that game in 2021 where he just couldn't throw a strike. So, and he somehow it wasn't the first time he faced the Red Sox after that. He had a brief stint with the Orioles too, if you recall, in 21, I think.
Yes, he ended up going to Japan as well, and
He went to Japan, now back. Whatever. Point being, a lot of on paper it shouldn't be as good as it is. Simple, but
that bullpen
good
dog water on paper.
Yeah, but the fact that the Red Sox got one game out of it, it's like, okay, yeah, does it suck not to win the series? Yeah. But at least you stole one game and you have to move on. That's simply put. The offense, up until that seventh inning, I'm like, yeah, the offense is cooked. They had like one run in 24 innings or no runs in 24 innings. I think one run. It was one run in the first 24 innings. And then
Then
Abreu decided to become Jesus again.
which we know Willier when he gets hot is scary, right?
Yes, but
Willier has Willier on Willier real quick. Willier has the tools to be one of the best hitters in baseball against right-handed pitching. When when he's on, it can be that legitimately scary against right-handed pitching.
they just have to be. No, he's going to be a really good major leaguer. He can be an all-star if he can hit lefties to an average degree. Point being, yeah, not even
that's how good
average. Like
righties.
Yeah. So what's the point here? I'm like, okay, the bats are cold. I'm like, is this team just going to be streaky? But then the bats woke up. Oh, by the way, like the Red Sox had like the leadoff men walk in like 3 or 4 consecutive innings, and they failed to score, which is frustrating. But hey, they're still getting some walks. And even in their win streak, there were some games where the Red Sox scored 1 run, like the 1-0 crochet complete game. They scored 4 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs, and then the others they scored a lot more. But they weren't blowing in the win streak. They weren't blowing the team out every time.
Yeah, there was a few of
them. Three of the four Rays games were decided by 1 run.
Yeah, and we know the Red Sox have been garbage in 1-run games this year.
And they won 3 straight. That's baseball for you.
Yep. I mean, also too, we'll just bring it up. Cedar Rafaela with probably the biggest home run of the year so far.
Yeah.
That Rafaela homer might that's gonna be added to his highlight reel forever. That's gonna be there forever. The Rays broadcast. So my ass is
wow.
I had to listen to the Rays broadcast. Oh, it was hilarious. And they didn't have their main play-by-play guy. They had someone filling in for the main play-by-play guy, which I will always say that Rays broadcast duo, in all honesty, I do believe is one of the better in baseball. So I typically don't mind watching the Rays broadcast. But just the call of he hits the ball and he waits 5 seconds, just go, wow. And then the other guy just goes, Red Sox win 5-4. And then that's it.
Any typical intro to a podcast. Red Sox win 5-4.
It's but no, it was it was an amazing one. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Cubs series too, in just the sense of Giolito and Bayo in some sense too, because I feel outside of the first inning, I felt like both of them buckled down really, really well. Really well. Giolito obviously did give up a run in the 6th inning when he was eventually taken out, but he really settled down after the first inning. And Bayo, I know he gave up another run in the 2nd, but after that, also really settled down. And then the other runs came off of Chris Murphy, which he had been pitching really good up until the All-Star break. I don't see why he wouldn't continue that. I think it's probably just a rough, just a little bit of a rough outing for him, but for Murphy. But we love C Murph here. And then obviously, like, yeah, the last start, Garrett Crochet. Although, albeit, you could very much argue Crochet did not have his best stuff. Allowed 8 hits, walked 2, only struck out 5. But, still only gives him 1 run through 6. I mean, that's why they're paying Garrett Crochet the big money, right? Even if he doesn't have the best stuff, he's still going out there fighting and putting up a really good performance. So, it's the Red Sox, like, that series, like, yeah, they didn't win the series, but that's kind of your measuring stick, I guess. And this whole entire stretch, this upcoming week, this is their measuring stick. You play the Cubs, you play the Phillies, both of those are road series, and then you get the Dodgers at Fenway. Those 3 series are your measuring sticks. Where do we need to get better? Why are these teams better than us? How do we close the gap to them? It's almost not exactly the same, but it's almost like when the Patriots in 2001 played the St. Louis Rams. And they lost that game, but they realized we're not that far off from them. We do this better, we do that better, we get a little bit better here, and we close the gap to them, right? And then that year the Patriots go on and beat them in the Super Bowl. It feels like this is the Red Sox version of that, whereas this is their measuring stick. The Cubs series, obviously, they lose it, but they were competitive for the most part. You win the last game in kind of spectacular fashion. Now you get the Phillies, and then you get the Dodgers. This is their, this is their series. These are another 2 series where it's like, this is going to show the Red Sox where they are. And then that even continues after the deadline. They have the Twin series. Then they get Houston. They do get Kansas City, but then
They
after
had
that,
the
on the road,
gauntlet, yeah.
Padres and Astros. I actually tweeted about this. Their schedule the rest of the year, I saw a thing about how they have, like, the hardest schedule the rest of the way. And like right before the All-Star break, they have the hardest schedule the rest of the way, which is true, but, like, it's split, and their schedule's split. They have the really rough stretch with no divisional games, which is Cubs, who they just finished, Phillies on the road, Dodgers at home, Minnesota on the road, Astros and Royals at home, and then Padres and Astros on the road. But then after that, they have an off day, and then they go straight into Miami and Baltimore at home. Then they get the
I will
Yankees.
be there.
Then they get the Yankees and Orioles on the road in back-to-back 4-game series, which is kind of wonky, but okay. Then they get the Pirates at home to close out August. Cleveland at home. They do have to go to Arizona on the road, but we're expecting Arizona to sell at the deadline. It's the Athletics in Sacramento.
They take another West Coast trip. Oh,
Yep.
yeah, that's right.
Yep,
I forgot.
Diamondbacks, Athletics. Then it's Yankees at home, Athletics at home again. They play the Athletics 6 times in 9 days. And then they have Rays on the road, Blue Jays on the road, and then they do end with the Tigers, right? But it's a lot easier stretch after that August 14th off day. It's all divisional games, which are all going to be important, and then it's Miami, Pittsburgh, um, Cleveland, Arizona, who's probably going to sell at the deadline, the Athletics again, and then Detroit's your last, game. Which, yeah, that's the last series. It's going to be a tougher series, but it's a lot easier stretch, I think, down the road. Because also, too, you want the Red Sox to be a wild card team, or even fight for the division. They're playing all the in-division teams, Baltimore too, but they have a ton of in-division games after August 14th. And I think a lot of those games are going to decide, one, the seeding when it comes to the wild card round, and if the Red Sox make or miss the playoffs. Because if the Red Sox can continue to beat up on the Yankees, and they can play well against the Rays and even the Blue Jays, right? The Red Sox might put themselves with a really good chance of winning the division, right? They're only 5 games back. You take games off the Yankees, you take games off the Rays, you take some games off the Blue Jays, right? Like, they're albeit they do only play the Blue Jays once down the stretch. But that's the 3-game series is in Toronto. But the Red Sox maybe win 2 out of those 3, or hell, even sweep them. Like, we could be talking Red Sox winning the division if they finish the year strong. So I think this next stretch is, like I said, I think it's kind of, but especially these series here. But it's kind of their measuring stick in a way. in some kind of shape or form.
Yeah. And it all depends on what they do at the deadline, too. And you said it before. After the All-Star break, this was the test. I said, okay, this winning streak's cool. I need to see how they do in this gauntlet of teams. The Cubs are division leaders. The Phillies are division leaders. The Dodgers are division leaders. The Twins are the Twins. The Astros are division leaders. Royals are not that good. Padres are a playoff team. The Astros again. And then it gets easier after that. So they got a long way to go. And do they need to still prove that they're buyers? In a way, yeah. They can't lose out, right? They can't lose between now and July 30th. Because if they do that, they'd be more inclined to get on the phone and sell Chapman. But I think even if they lose 2 out of 3 to the Phillies, they lose 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. By the way, Derek, are the Dodgers struggling? Yes, they are.
They've lost 3 in a row and 8 of their last 10. So if there's a time to play them, you better play them while they're cold. Hopefully they don't heat up in their next series against they actually play Minnesota.
Right. So on paper, it's a pretty good time to go play the Dodgers. And the Phillies series is going to be interesting because the pitching matchups are going to be tomorrow, Zach Wheeler versus Walker Buehler. Oof. Tuesday, Richard Fitz versus Dick Fitz versus, Christopher Sanchez. Then it is Lucas Giolito versus Jesus Luzardo. Luzardo actually has a ERA of 4.29. He has been god-awful. I think in his last 5 starts, he's given up like 20 runs or something like that.
Well,
he's been awful.
It's been bad, but also, too, here's the thing with the Phillies. They just lost the series to the Angels. And before the break, the last 2 series they played, lost 2 out of 3 to the Padres, lost 2 out of 3 to the Giants. Their last series win was the July 4th weekend, where they won 2 out of 3 against the Reds.
Wow.
That's the only series in July that every game was in July of that series that they won.
If I recall correctly, they played really well against the Phillies last year.
I can actually...
At home, yes. It was pretty good.
I think they did.
Did they play them?
They played them at home, definitely. I'm pretty sure.
I remember going to one.
They won 2 out of 3. They lost the game on June 11th on the Tuesday, 4-1. Then they won 8-6 and 9-3.
I remember one of them was
because that, you know why? That was after the White Sox series where they split they split 2 with the Braves, split 4 with the White Sox, and then they won 2 out of 3 against the Phillies, 2 out of 3 against the Yankees, and then swept the Blue Jays, and then 2 out of 3 against the Reds, and then they won. They won 1 of the 2 against the Blue Jays, with the third one that was the game that was suspended where Danny Jansen played in the game with both teams. But that was the Red Sox. That was when the Red Sox kind of got hot last year in June. Then it started with the Phillies, because then in July they went Marlins sweep, Yankees 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3 from the Athletics, and then 2 out of 3 from the Royals into the All-Star break. And then after the All-Star break, it was Dodgers sweep, Rockies lose 2 out of 3, Yankees lose 2 out of 3, and then they won 2 out of 3 against the Mariners, shockingly. Almost, but then it was just kind of downhill from there. Although last year is weird, because out of the deadline, they won 2 out of 3 from the Rangers, win 2 out of 3 from the Royals, and then the collapse happened. Sweep by the Astros, they won 2 out of 3 from the Rangers again, and then split 4 with the Orioles, beat the Astros, and then comes the absolute collapse of Diamondbacks getting swept, Blue Jays series not being good, and then September came.
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah. Then September came and they just fell off a cliff, right? But I think this team's different. The last year, you can very much make the argument they overperformed through the deadline and even through August. You can make the argument they overperformed. This year, I think you kind of look at the Red Sox team and you go, like this is their year to like prove that this is what you should expect from them. Like they
This
are.
is a more wide open race too.
It's a more wide open race. Right? There's less. I feel like in the American League, at least, there's less teams that are like right there in the mix because you have the Yankees, Mariners, and Red Sox. Mariners, Red Sox are both 2 games back from the Yankees, but then Red Sox and Mariners are tied for the second and third wildcard spots. The Rays are a game and a half back. Then the Rangers have won 3 in a row, but they're losing right now to the Tigers. They're 3 games back. That would bump them down to 3.5 back. The Angels are 4 back. The Guardians are 4.5 back. The Twins are 5 back. The Royals are 5.5 back. Right? Those teams could make runs. You never know. One of those teams could get stupidly hot. But in all honesty, unless the Rangers get hot, which that's probably the only team I could see, they're the only one with also a run differential that's not negative, and they also have a better run differential than the Blue Jays. I'll just throw that out there. But it's pretty much going to be
Jeez.
Mariners, Red Sox, and Rays for those 3 spots. Unless the Yankees jump the Blue Jays fall down, right?
Or the Orioles go on a fucking huge spree. Which,
I can't.
by the way, I mean you mentioned this to me earlier in the week. You're like, the Orioles are like, they're not terrible. They're not terrible.
They played really bad at the start of the year, and they've kind of like, I don't want to say they haven't flipped the script, but like they did just lose 2 out of 3 to the Rays, but like, and they lost 2 out of 3 to Miami before the All-Star break, but like they won 2 out of 3 against the Mets. They swept the Braves, right, in July, in the first 2 series of July. Like, they weren't playing terrible. Like, if anything was going to happen for the Orioles, it probably would have been after those Braves and Mets series because they won 5 out of 6. And so you'd think maybe, but then the Marlins series going into the break kind of shut that down. But who knows? I mean, they play the Guardians and then the Rockies, and then they have a 4-game series, including a doubleheader against the Blue Jays before the deadline. So, but they after the deadline, they get Cubs and Phillies. So, eat shit, I guess, Baltimore. But like,
Uh,
I mean, they could go on a run, right? I'm not saying they can't, but like, I think their run would have had to. They would be having to have that run right now. But even then, though, like, they're not bad. Like, it's not like the Red Sox playing against the Orioles are not guaranteed wins. But like I said, though, I think it's probably, whichever team doesn't win, whatever team wins it's 3 of the 4 AL East teams, right? Whoever doesn't win the AL East, it's the second, third, and fourth place teams, which the Red Sox are in that right now. The Mariners, and then maybe the Rangers if they go on a run.
yeah.
Right? Which isn't totally far-fetched. They have the talent. I would not be, honestly, at this point. They won 2 out of 3 from the Astros before the break. They've won 2 out of 3 against the Tigers. The third game's still happening right now, although it's in the bottom of the 8th and they're losing 2-1. They have the Athletics. Then they do have the Braves, but then they play the Angels. If they win 2 out of 3 against the Athletics, maybe even sweep them, they do well against the Braves, and then they win 2 out of 3 against the Angels, like, the Rangers are going to be right there, right? So maybe you bring the Rangers into the race. I don't see the Angels being serious contenders, right? So at the absolute most, you have 5 teams fighting for 3 spots. At the absolute most, right? And one of those teams is probably going to fall off. It might be the Rays. It might be Texas. Texas might be the one who falls off, and it's just 4 teams, right? But I think, however it's going to break down, you're going to have 4 teams pushing for 3 spots. So one team does have to miss out, but the Red Sox odds will be a lot better than I think they were at this point last year. And I think Fangraphs has them close. I know they dropped under 50%, but I think they're still like around 58. I don't know if it was like 46 or 47 or 48 or something like that, but the Red Sox still have very good playoff odds. So
Real quick, I'm just looking at the probables on Fangraphs. If, assuming everything's right, the Red Sox against the Dodgers would have to face Emmett Sheehan, Clayton Kershaw, who's not that good, but he's washed, and then Ohtani. So it looks like they're going to avoid Glasnow, May, and Yamamoto.
which is great. Well, May is where's didn't Dustin May like technically get like I thought last I looked on Fangraphs he was slated in the bullpen. I know he started,
He might be,
but like
didn't he start yesterday? Did he start yesterday?
did
I don't
he?
know.
Although
Anyways,
I don't know. I know although because I know their probable start, and although the Dodgers do have an off day between their twin series and the Red Sox, so maybe that was why. I don't let me not. No, I'm interested. Not
whatever, not important, not important.
it's not important. But no, I mean, still, I mean, you look at what the Red Sox could potentially do. They're gonna be, you know, they're gonna be set up real nice. The Red Sox in that Dodger series potentially. It's looking like. Well, let's start with. We brought up the Phillies series, right? For the Red Sox, they have, that they miss out on, or is Nola on the injured list? Am I? They missed out on
Aaron Nole's on the injured
injured
list.
list.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I was
sure.
about to say he's on the injured list. That's why they're missing out on Nola, right? But like, they are getting Wheeler. That's a rough one. They're probably getting the three best pitchers in that rotation. Probably. Maybe you can make the. Well, no, sorry, they're not getting Ranger Suarez. Totally forgot about him. So they're missing Ranger Suarez, right? But you're getting the Red Sox. You're getting Wheeler. You're getting Christopher Sanchez. And the Red Sox have Buehler and Fitz going in those two games, so not ideal. But and then Giolito and Luzardo, right? But then the Red Sox, it's Bayo and Emmett Sheehan. Like I think you kind of have to give the edge to Bayo. Then you have Red Sox have Crochet and Kershaw. Like it's Crochet and Kershaw. I think right Crochet gets the edge, and then Buehler and Shohei. Like yeah, Shohei has the edge, but like how many innings is Shohei going to even pitch?
2, 3, I don't know.
Exactly. So like, which I mean, Shohei might be really damn good in those, Um. Oh, so Dustin May is going to be used out of the bullpen in a tandem with Shohei.
Oh.
So Dustin May will fall.
Not worried.
So yeah, maybe you get the Dodgers get the edge because like Buehler kind of stinks, but like, yeah, I think that's actually funnily enough too. I think the Dodgers game. I'm going to Dodgers Rays on August 1st. I'm a little sad. I think I'm missing out on an Ohtani start by one day, but I think I'm gonna get a Kershaw start, which is pretty damn cool.
Also, you don't know what's going to change in terms of the weather.
That's
and
true.
stuff.
Well, Florida, yeah, that's true. But still.
Well, not necessarily for Florida, but in other places.
Well, yeah,
right?
but I don't think they totally changed it. Well, they better not have a rainout because I don't want to see Emmett Sheehan pitch.
That would suck. Especially after the trade deadline.
Oh, it is the day after the deadline. And maybe they'll move
Shout out
the day.
Shout out Pesky Report.
Wait,
Going live.
yes, myself and Jordan Leandre going live from 11 in the morning through the trade deadline.
Did you know it was his birthday that day?
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be something.
That's to move out of my apartment that day.
It's gonna be 7 hours from 11 to the trade deadline, and then we'll be on
7 hours of commercial-free trade deadline talk.
And then we'll be
presented by the Pesky Report.
And we'll be live through the deadline and after as well. Obviously, some stuff trickles in after the deadline in terms of when you hear it. So we will we might be live even till like 7 or so. Last year we were live. The deadline was at 5. We started at 10 in the morning. We went from 10 to 5, and then we went to to 5:45. But yeah. Also, I do have a low moment of the week if we want to move on to that right now.
Sure.
Fangraphs has this thing on their website called crowdsourced trade value, and basically they give you two players and you pick which one you would, the player you'd value. I have a screenshot of it on my phone. It's to select the player you would value more highly in a trade, inclusive of current ability, future expectations, and contractual status. So it says we found that 150 to 200 matchups is a good cutoff to create a reasonable personal top 10, but you should feel free to do however many you'd prefer. I don't like that's part of the thing that they say. Basically, but you can only see what your top 10 are, right, in terms of trade value players from just picking, and I don't know how they decide your top 10. You want to know what my top 10 is?
Good God.
So I did 1,000 matchups. I thought I was just bored one night and just whatever. Bobby Witt Jr., Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Paul Skeens, Kyle Raleigh, Ellie De La Cruz, Jackson Merrill. I'll skip number 8 for now. James Wood and Julio Rodriguez. This is not a slight at the guy who's at number 8, but he's definitely not the 8th most valuable player in baseball in terms of trade value. Guess who ended up at number 8? This is a little bit flawed. Junior Caminero.
Alrighty.
Because so you get two players and you have to pick one or the other. Every single time Junior Caminero came up, it was against Zach Neto or Anthony Volpe or so who's some Tyler Stevenson, or I'm like, I have to pick Caminero over them, but I got one time, the only good person I got Caminero against was Caminero against Shohei, and I'm like, well, duh, Shohei. But every single time Caminero came up, it was Caminero and I don't know, some random person, Caminero. Even I think the next closest one I got was Caminero and Christian Campbell, and I love Christian Campbell, but I would take Caminero 9 days out of 10. Right?
Yeah. No, I agree.
The system's a little bit flawed, Fangraphs. I like the idea they were going for, right? Because I think somehow too, depending on what you click, I think maybe it factors because it's a point system. So I wonder if it's a third baseman versus a pitcher, and you pick the third baseman, does it give all third basemen a couple extra points? I don't know how it works. They don't even say how it works. It's just so. But like I said, I did find that a little bit funny how Junior Caminero was my 8th most valuable major leaguer in terms of trade value. Even though I love Junior Caminero, but he's absolutely not 8th in baseball.
Well, my low moment of the week is Jazz Chisholm getting 3 home runs in the home run derby. Anything else, Derek?
Anyone see that one guy give up that really long home run in Japan?
Oh yeah, some might say it was the longest in history.
1, I'm not buying that, but 2, I'm buying it for the sake of just the lull factor.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's so crazy. Comes back from the minor leagues.
Oh God, that was amazing.
That was your low moment of the week. So yeah, let's wrap it up here. For Derek, I'm Jason. Thank you for tuning in, and go Sox.